who's a singer will become a billionaire. That means most Black Americans who are like on the status of accumulating so much wealth, like the billionaire status, most of them, not all, they probably entertainers. So this is a huge problem, and they will never grow, because if you look at the white people, their richest people are like Elon Musk and many Larry Fink, who controls the BlackRock. These are people who are in the commodities, who are controlling the assets, who are in the science space, who are driving technology. So when you look at that position, it will always be a setback for all of us. And then the funny part as well is that the richest black group, if we talk money, right, we're talking about money, is Black Americans. The Africa that has got the
Yes.
most black people doesn't even produce such rich people, and it just goes to show you that there's a system that is operating in place. And unfortunately, like, look, I used to think I have solutions for all these things, but I think it's way complicated more than you can think, because the other races are more like, the steps they are like 100 years ahead of us. It's very difficult to see where we can merge in and catch up. You get what I'm saying? IC3. It's very difficult to really come up with a solution that is practical and see how we can catch up from this entire giant system that is on our necks and breaking us.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't want.
Jose, will you agree that competition leads to development, right? You know, competition, when people competing among with each other, it leads to development. The kind of develop to your nations. You believe that?
I think it's more complicated than I think.
Okay,
Competition
let's
is
just
more.
let's just let's
I
just take
think
it on a higher
let me
level.
say this. Let
On a
me say
higher
this.
level. Let's not
I,
go
I
deep.
think
Let's
I
just
think aggression. I think aggression drives this more than anything, because I don't think white people were really competing, because they always want to destroy competition. They don't want competition. They're just more aggressive. So
yes. Okay,
it
okay,
can be
good.
competition, because
Mhm.
they want to eliminate competition by all means necessary.
Good, good.
It's
So
not a fair.
if
Yeah.
the both parties are all trying to eliminate competition, because it's not just one side, therefore they still have some kind of a competition. Each one is trying to eliminate the
True,
competition
bro.
of the other one. Maybe they want to get
True.
total monopoly of anything. Each is trying to do that. We can see it right now. The tension between the Russians and the Americans, what in terms of like military, I don't know, arsenals and military artillery. Just an example. So what I brought this point is, if you look at Africans, at foreign policies, we don't really want to compete with the West. We just want to be friends to them. We want to be allies to them. You understand? We want to pay. Okay, yes, let's work together. Let's not fight. That's my point. But if we don't really think, oh, let's try to beat these people. Let's try to be better than them. Let's not just try to be body with them. Then we're not gonna ever be in that position to ever compete with the West. That's just my point. Because
Okay.
if you have,
Okay.
okay, maybe you have pride for you have pride like a South African. You're gonna make
Hmm.
sure that Nigeria should never be better than South Africa. You understand? I want South Africa to be the best country in Africa. If the Nigerians they think like that, you know what? I have pride in my country. I have pride in Nigeria. I want Nigeria to be better than Europe. When you start thinking like that, you start
Uh,
having competition
Kifaru,
and you start to
Kifaru,
match.
okay, can I just say this, Kifaru? Sorry, brother. I want us to engage, and I'll be quick. You look at Japan, right? Japan was bombed two times, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They were actually testing their nuclear bomb on the poor people of Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan, not so long ago, probably 40, 60 years ago, right? Today, the Japanese, after that, they became one of the Western biggest allies. Now, if you go back few centuries of Japan, the Japans were known as one of the most principled culture, one of the most prideful culture. What
Mhm.
happened? Fast forward with the after nuclear weapon, the same people who dropped the nuclear weapon on them, they became the best friends with them. What I'm saying, Kifaru, is let's focus on the survival of our groups beyond the pride. Do what is a practical thing to keep your
Yeah,
people going
I'm not saying.
in a moment where you are defeated. Look for survival options where you
Look,
can still feed your people and put them up. That's what the Japanese did. They put their
okay,
pride aside
good,
and
good.
merged with their enemy. Japan became the most developed country in Asia, and they were driving manufacture
Lozi,
and technology. That's just what
don't
I'm
you
saying.
think that Dozy, don't you still believe that is because of their pride for their country and for who they are that they could manage to build themselves again like that?
Kifar, what pride are you talking about? Because they became the best ally of the same enemy that bombed them. What
Well,
kind of pride is
that is how it seems like on the surface, but really, there's some die-hard Japanese people who don't still like America.
no? But you're not getting my point. I'm saying they did not say because America bombed us and they hold grudge on that. They looked at how can they develop
Yeah,
aside from every.
when I say okay, when I say pride, that does not mean you hate somebody. Okay, I'm not saying that you hate some. If I love myself, that does not mean I hate you. I just want to be better than you. That's the point. I don't hate you for being prideful. I want to build myself. I want to be better than you. If we don't have that pride, or everything we want to go closer
Maybe
to the west.
maybe I'm just
That's just
confused
the
when you
point.
talk
Maybe
about pride.
it's a really high level
I'm confused
explanation, but
when you keep talking about pride. I guess, man. I
it's
don't know.
really
Maybe
important. I think you're trying to
no.
discard the point, make it to be very
I,
irrelevant, but it's
I
really,
think
really
we
important
interpret.
on a low level of reasoning. You understand?
Kifaru,
That's how
I think we interpret pride. Maybe like we're using it on a wrong context. Like context. I guess. Maybe myself.
okay. Let me okay.
I
Let me
I base life on a practical principle like this. It's just survival. There's no much attachment, nothing like that. Race also, it's not really attached to that. The groups focus on their survival. So survival is very important. And when it comes to survival, even pride itself, it's not a biggest factor. You have to survive by all means necessary, either as a group or individuals.
yeah. I believe this world is competition. There must be competition. No, even if you're going to be an ally to one, you must be a competition. If you don't try to match the energy of who is a competitor, you're always going to be inferior to them. And
So
all your
Kifari,
decision is always going to align to what they tell you. And that's the issue. Like, okay, let's even keep away Africa. Let's even talk about European countries. Let's talk about NATO. All those small countries, okay, maybe it's for them a survival. Maybe they're scared of Russian aggression, that one day Russia might come and catch them. Okay, maybe they became part of NATO because to them it's survival. But all your foreign policy has to be accepted by America. It will be so difficult for those countries to try to match the energy of America
So
if there's
where's their pride because
one
they
second, Lozi.
became the puppets of forces?
Let me address Kifaru and this issue of pride. What do you think of this? Because just listening to you going back and forth, Lozi and Kafaru, this idea came to me that, and even going back to the very title of the stream, it comes back down to identity. It appears to me, this thought, just I'm just shooting from the hip now, listening to you both speaking, that once you have a clear identity, something to focus on, yeah,
Mhm.
then and that group focuses on that identity, then pride kind of pride in the mission of that identity um, comes about, and it doesn't matter about the material wealth at that point. It's that having that core identity, having that allows for effective organization and effective power, and then you, because you're together, you then start to accomplish, you then start to gain material wealth, because your order is tight, your military is tight, your state is tight, because you've clarified who you are, what you're about, and because you have a clarification of identity, then pride then starts to come. Pride in that identity then starts to develop. When you lose your identity, when your identity is not clear and there's confusion, you're unable to have pride. That thought, I'm just shooting. That thought came about by listening to you both speaking.
Yeah, I
And
think
look,
it's a really fundamental part of every group of people. You must have that identity or pride or nationalism. Or nationalistic tendency. Let me just give an example. Recently, I was watching Nigerian TV. It's not a big deal, but this guy, Airpiece, okay, he's a really proud Nigerian. And he has been able to create an airline that goes international. Okay, as an individual, if that guy was not like a proud Nigerian, what he could have been doing, maybe trying to partner with people, trying to take a little bit of what they can give him because he wants to survive. Okay, that is mindset of okay, I want to rival British Airline because I have pride of my country. It does make him excel. It's the same with the guy that's doing the thing in Nigeria, the Emerson. Is doing very good because it's pride. But my country, people prefer to go and bring Peugeot and Peugeot plant because to them it's survival. If we bring this Peugeot plant in my country, it's going to create employment. Yeah, but that is a short-term thing. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. If you see yourself like, I want to be who I am. I want myself. Okay, I'm Dusty. I'm that. Yes, that's who I am, but I still have pride in myself. If you have pride in yourself, the way you do business with people is going to be completely different than someone who wants an association, who
but
wants a friendship.
Kifaru, okay, what did we say earlier on that it is unprideful? What did we say that made you think we are not prideful?
Because from what I listen to you, when I listen to you speak, all what is important is just we need to survive and we need to go as low as it takes if that's going to make us
Ki-
survive. That's your
Kifaru,
argument.
let me say this. For when it comes to survival, there's really no rules. It's a game of no rules. So what is important is so that your group can survive and see the coming day. Someone else somewhere might interpret it as you going low, but are you surviving? Because let's say that's the only option you can take, or else you are annihilated. You sound like that warrior who will say, "Let me die on my pride than living on like a slave." That sound all nice in the novel books, but in reality, we have seen many
No,
most.
no,
Allow
Joseph.
me to
Okay.
allow me to say this.
All right.
It's like it's a movie talk. Unfortunately, like life, it's not a movie. So in reality, we have seen many nations compromising a little for a specific time in their life, in their period, understanding the circumstance they faced with, which is a reality they have at the end. But they want to preserve the survival of their own of their own group. So they compromise. They don't compromise entirely where they are entirely defeated, but they compromise just to buy more time. We have seen this with the Indians. We have seen this with the Japanese. Even Africa now, it's compromising a lot. We have seen this with the Chinese. When you have to become strategic. Strategy is more important than pride, because pride can mislead you from thinking with strategies. When
Mm.
you apply strategies, that's why sometimes women beat men, because women are not really prideful creatures, but they always apply strategy in how they can have men working for them, and they preserve they take advantage of their position they have. Now, this pride thing doesn't really serve the interest of groups if you are thinking of survival. What helps to preserve your own group so that you can survive is the strategy that you have in order so that you can survive as people. Nobody will remember you in how you stood as a prideful nation, but you annihilated, you're no longer existing. The most important thing is to preserve your group and exist to see the following day. I mean, the coming day. That's what is important, and have strategies. The pride doesn't help, Kifar. I'm sure in a perfect universe, you will rather be in Cameroon now and build Cameroon than to serve UK, right?
I don't know why you always bring this Cameroon. I don't know
Because
if
pride
it's a
because
strategy
your
to
pride
shame or what.
no
But
no your pride should be, where is Cameroon now and how can I better Cameroon? That's that's
yes,
that's
yes.
that's a good
Lozi,
question of a
I
prideful
think
person.
like yeah, I get you. It doesn't mean I am in the West. That does not mean I don't have pride for my country. You understand?
Exactly,
People
exactly what I mean.
Chinese in Africa don't hate China. They still have pride for China. What they're doing,
The difference, the
even why
Chinese dominate
listen,
Africa,
listen,
Kifaru. That's a bad
if
comparison. The Chinese dominate in Africa. You don't dominate in UK. That's a
okay,
very bad comparison.
Lozi, it's the mindset. The Chinese people are prideful people more than the Africans. But this might,
The,
I just want to
um,
make this argument really
um,
simple. If you have
oh,
a mindset of pride, Everything you're gonna do, you want to get into business, you want to get into association, you're gonna think differently. But if you think
Kifaru,
as just as if you think as just a survivor
no.
entity,
The,
or survivor
Kifaru,
being,
no, you are
listen.
talking about the Chinese. You
No,
are talking about the
I'm just
No, no, no,
giving
no,
an
no. You are
example. No, I
talking
brought
about the success China. The Chinese 30 years ago were not seen by the globe as respected people. They were
yes,
always made fun of. They had to
good,
rise. The Chinese went through a lot. They went
good,
through
good.
just a period of
Okay,
shaming themselves.
Jose,
The
I
point,
understand.
no, no, no.
You know about Mao
You are very,
Zedong. Do
you are
you
picking,
believe Mao
picking.
Zedong was a pride was someone that was proud of China, of his own
Yeah,
country
you
and his
are.
own people? Okay,
You are.
good. That's why he had to change this country, because he had that kind of a mindset. He
How
was
much
not saying,
did he
okay, do you
change
know what?
though?
Before we air
Look, we can
his
agree that
policies, his
no, no, let me
okay,
give you an example. We can agree that Gaddafi was a prideful leader, right?
yes.
Where is Libya today?
Well, that does not mean because he did
Kifaru,
not succeed. He's fighting.
strategy is
Listen,
more important than pride. That's my
listen.
point.
Okay, I think we're trying to
Strategy,
oversimplify Gaddafi. You understand? We have to see if Gaddafi, if Africans leaders, okay, if
thanks,
maybe
the brother there said, he
if
said we
six
don't
of
build
look, okay,
civilization from pride. He's
you brought
right.
Gaddafi, you brought Gaddafi up, okay. Gaddafi, I don't know, but from what we can tell, Libya under Gaddafi was doing extremely well, more than so
Of
many
course.
African countries. Okay,
But but
that,
but but
okay. So what's the
but
point?
he missed. But Kifaru,
He was doing
okay,
extremely
let's say
well, more than because he had the
let's say
pride as a
Kifaru,
Libyan.
and because of his own pride, he miscalculated a lot of things, and the enemy dismantled him. The most important thing, it's not you to have a pride when you lead people. It's
No,
for
when
you to
pride
calculate
does
the
not
risk
mean
and
you
be
just have a
strategic.
pride and just
Oh,
fold your hands and sit. My point is, if you someone that is prideful, your how you go into business, your foreign policy, how you interact with other people will be completely different. You'll be going to someone that want to compete,
what we
not that
were
want
saying
to create
earlier
a
on before you were
situation.
not here, it has nothing to do with what you say. What we were saying here earlier on was just confronting the reality on ground and explaining why things are the way they are. That doesn't mean we were not prideful. We were just breaking it down and saying the reason why things are
Okay,
like this is this and this. We
good.
have to
Okay,
confront those things and show
good.
them so that we can
Okay.
understand what we're dealing with.
Yeah,
How you gonna
Lucy.
cannot
Let's go. Let's try to go far back in history before
yeah,
all these
yeah.
white people came to Africa, all this colonization. There was one time in history where blacks and white were not that different in terms of the society how we live. Okay, it was always different. But I believe these people just say, okay, do you know what? We are this group of people. We have to take pride in ourselves, and it's that pride that gave them that superiority complex over Africans. That's why they could.
I don't think that's
That's
what happened, Kifaru. I really don't. I don't think white people woke up to one day and said, "Let's have pride and go take
no,
over."
no,
That's
no.
not what happened.
They don't. They
There's
don't.
many
But
sequence,
it has to
Kifaru.
come from
There's many
within.
sequence of events in
See,
history that shaped people and
Lozy,
how they
yeah.
think.
It has to
Kifaru.
come from within first,
Kifaru.
within
No, no,
you.
no,
If it
no,
comes
no,
from
no.
if it comes from within
Oh,
you,
Kifaru,
then
come
you
on, man.
how you're gonna make your next moves gonna matter. But if you don't
Kifaru,
have that pride within you, it's gonna
Kifaru,
be difficult how you steps the
Kifaru.
next steps you're gonna move. It will be completely
No,
different
Kifaru,
from someone that has got pride. I'm not saying that
Kifaru.
just pride not just pride
Oh.
alone
Kifaru,
is enough.
many empires rise and fall, and most empires are not just built on the solid foundation of having pride. Many events and sequences happens in history that shapes the mindsets and the thinking of people through the hardship they experience in their past or whatever. Many groups rise, they come and they go. Most people are not entirely driven by the so-called pride. Most people are driven by survival, either of the individual
You
or their
can't be
own
driven
group.
by survivor. You'll be at the bottom of the barrel of people who are
When you are
prideful.
driven by what?
Because you will just be look, this is the thing. People who want to
Okay,
survive.
so you think America? You think America
I want to
invaded
give you
many
an example.
countries? No, 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 no. Let me get this.
Listen.
You think
People
America
let me just
invaded
say this.
many
Let me just
countries
say
to
this.
get their resources because of pride, Kivaru? You think
Josie.
America? Oh, come on, Kivaru. I'm asking you a question. You
Okay.
think America in the past century and a century, let's just say a century, they invaded many countries with war, military wars. They did all that because of pride.
Yeah,
That's what you say.
they have a superiority complex. That's some form of pride.
Yes,
They
it
have
is.
a
It's
superiority
Of course,
complex.
complex.
of course, of
Superiority.
course,
They have that
of course,
superiority
Kifaru,
complex over
of
you.
course,
And
Kifaru,
it did not just
Kifaru,
come because they have the
Kifaru.
technology
No,
because
no,
they
no,
have the
Kifaru.
military. It
Oh
was
no,
within them before they start
Kifaru,
thinking like that.
Kifaru, Kifaru. The superiority complex is true, but the superiority complex, it's born out of the idea of survival. So the fewer group has indoctrinated
I don't.
most white people to believe in the superiority
Okay,
complex.
okay,
Drive
okay.
their
Let me.
interest in
Okay,
like
let's try to break
but,
down. Let's try to
but
break down the
Kifaru,
thing.
people who want to control the globe and the entire resources are not solely driven by pride. They are driven by survival for their own groups. That comes first before any pride, and you need to have that. So, and you will have
Okay,
strategies. Hence, you can even indoctrinate your group to have a superiority complex because you are driven by the survival and you want control. That's not at the core. They're not driven by pride. They are driven by the survival of their group. Hence,
okay.
superiority complex is born right there as well, so that
Okay.
they can
Good point.
further their
Good point.
agenda.
Okay. This okay. Maybe I think we are saying the same thing, but different from different direction. So you talk about people who are pride. So people who are survival. I see people in the village as people who just want to survive. Okay, they're not here to compete with anyone. The little they have, they live in their thatch houses. They take water from the well. They just want to survive. I
Oh,
don't see those people trying to
and
go and try to create
Kifaru,
any like an empire.
Kifaru,
No, because that's a survivor instinct. Okay, is different
Kifaru.
from that.
That's why people in the villages are still there and waiting for the products and goods that are driven by white people in these all industries to get there to them.
Yes,
That's the
yes,
same reason
yes,
why it's
because
like
they
that.
want to survive. That's why they have to
Yeah,
succumb
but
to
there's
that other.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
of
Kifaru.
course. Yeah. So
Would you agree?
I'm not saying that pride enough it's
Yeah.
alone, but if you have pride, how you think is gonna drastically change your
You
trajectory
you
for your
need
What do you
you
group.
think
need
of this?
you need
Let me say this.
strategy more than pride, Kifaru. You need to think with strategy
No,
because
I'm not
listen to what I'm
completely
saying.
rejecting to
Pride,
what you
no, no,
say.
no. I have to make this point. I
I
have
don't
to make this
completely
point.
deny what you
Pride,
say.
pride can be driven by ego, and ego can lead you to losing your strategies and your focus. So there's a thin line between like an empty, arrogant pride and ego. You need to be
Yes,
more strategic.
of
You need
course.
to be able
True.
to be strategic
That's true,
and
Nazi. I'm not.
see.
What do you think of this? What do you think of this?
Hmm.
If this Kafaru and Lozi, because listen to you going back and forth, we can actually the truth is of the situation is going to come out as we play tennis back and forth, back and forth. What do you think of this? Because earlier on we talked about identity, and then the difference between the
Kifaru, you have a
female mind.
feedback. Kifaru, you have a
Eh?
feedback. You have a feedback.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Identity and the female mind and resources. So, from the scriptures, and even in many things, a group of people is perceived as being female, feminine. Yes, that's why they have a ship that contains many people. They call a ship a she. Yes, so a ship, so a group of people, a village, a town, a city is feminine. Um, and yes, but the ruler or the power authority is seen as masculine. So when you have so going back to what you were saying about the resources and the relationship between survival and pride, what is bouncing off there, the relationship between pride and survival. So I would say, looking at those ancient wisdom, that survival and existence is very feminine. It's the city. The city is where the food is kept, the children are born, the society is created. Society itself is feminine, but the ideology, that drives a society is masculine. It's the one thing. It's the thing that encapsulates the identity. So you have a society, you have a group of people, but the group of people can only be kept together because there is a name for them. They have a name. They have an identity. It's the one. It's the one that keeps the mass together. Like the ship. The ship is feminine because lots of people are on the ship, but the ship has a name. The ship has a captain. There's not two captains. Yes. So so the dance between the argument between pride and survival is the same relationship between the male and the female. It's the same relationship between an ideology and a group of people that follow that ideology.
Okay, can I ask this?
Yeah,
Where
let
was
me
the
just say this to
where was
Lozi.
the
Lozi,
pride?
I
Where
believe
was
that
the
even
pride?
South Africa, okay, even you blacks in South Africa,
Kifaru, can
I
just quickly
believe,
ask
I
you this
believe
thing?
your pride that you had as a group of people helped you to create this resistance and resilience among the apartheid group. You had,
Yeah,
I believe,
but you see,
it worked on.
Kifaru,
If you did not have that, maybe you could have just been okay. Let's just
you see, you are
integrate
very
and be.
okay. But Kifaru, you are very picky and choose when it comes to, as I said, history is made out of many events and sequences. There was a point where we fought hard colonizers, we won some battles and we lost some battles. There was a point in fast forwarding during apartheid, there was a point where Nelson Mandela and comrades had to sit down with the enemy and compromise the struggle and ideology and negotiate. Where was our pride there? My point is this: at the
Yes,
core of
Lozi, it's true. It's true.
allow me to say this.
Okay.
As I said, strategy is more important than your pride because, as I said, many societies in history have got to a point where now they be strategic and swallow their pride for a moment and think in terms of strategies. I agree that you need a level of pride among us to build a strong society. I always say that, but I'm saying it shouldn't be the answer to all. When we try, because we were trying to break down everything, me and ICU3 and Kaizo before you, we were trying to explain the condition that we find ourselves in, the situation, and you saw that as us not having pride. We were just saying this is like people always compromise all the time, and whenever the enemy is too powerful and strong, it's stupid to go to a suicide war. You have to think, apply strategy. If the enemy says let's negotiate, you negotiate. Negotiation could be seen as a sort of buying more time to prepare yourself and your people to come back and maybe wage war or have apply better systems that will put you in an advantageous position. Pride doesn't always work, but sometimes you compromise and you think you apply strategies. That's just what I was saying, I guess.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, yeah. Yes. So it is that relationship between, because even strategic, I suppose. Oh, actually, let's just listen to what you were saying. That that's the same relationship you have between the military and society. Because if you have a military leader, they say that it kills creativity. So you can use a military leader um, to bring about order, but if you leave the military in power too long, it kind of kills the people. It kills the creativity. It kills the growth in the economy. A militant mindset. So a militant mindset, sometimes the people will bring in a military man to solve the problem that the people are suffering. But when the problem is solved, they want to put the military to the side. Yeah, because you can't prosper under a military leader. It's got to be to the side. It's only good for immediate problem solving. Would you
I
agree with
guess I guess I'll agree with Kifaru and just say this. It's a thin line to balance between the dignity and pride of your people and when you have to compromise and survive. I guess that's what we're arguing. I'm not saying pride is not a good thing for people, and I think Kifaru is not saying having strategies is also not good. I guess we're struggling to find a thin line between which one is more important and which one should be more prioritized. So, for example, recently we have seen that Israel and Iran, they go back and forth with each other, exchanging missiles, but they don't really want to go to a full assault and engagement as like a war, a proper war. And then they come on and play these tricks on the national with the national media. One does this, and they always like they are very strategic about it. But then you ask yourself, where's the pride of Iran? Where's the pride of Israel? So they always striking. There's a thin line between their pride and being very diplomatic and avoiding chaos. I guess
Yeah.
that balance you see happening there.
And that balance is called the moral high ground. It's called, that balance is in the moral authority, because even America with all its bombs and any country with all its bombs, before you fight, you have to justify the fight. It has to be justified, because even if you lose 2 or 3 people, right, you have to explain to their parents, you have to explain to the family why that person died. Why did you do this fight? Why did you fight? Why did my daughter have to die? What was you fighting for? So even though you may have the weapons, you have to have a justification for the fight. You have to get the moral authority, so you can give good reason that your son or your daughter or your member of your family did not die for nothing. So that is why there's always little banter, not they don't want to go into full scale war, because if there's full scale war, it's going to be a load of bloodshed, and then you're going to have to justify that. And also, even you have to be perceived to be just in amongst the international community.
So I see 3. Why do you think the poor white men still get black women, like just like average poor white men? I think I know, but I just want to hear your explanation.
Yeah, the poor average.
No, do you think the poor average white man? No, it does not happen, man. They always get poor women.
It happens, guys.
It does,
it happens.
because he's white. You see, that's what it's always.
Well, but yeah, they might have a woman, but she too must be a poor one. I don't think they can have high value black women.
You stick to the identity. Poor white man, not poor man. Poor white.
Yes,
man.
yes. So there's a social credit.
Yes,
with
poor
that,
white man.
Right.
I don't think they can have a high value black woman. They must have a poor black woman as well.
No, they can actually even have a high value black woman.
Well, can you give me an example? I don't know, please.
No. I mean, I don't think it's something that happens occasion like every night. Like it's not something that you see it every day. But there's a high chance that a poor white man can get a high class black man than the opposite. You get my point? A poor black man will never get a high class white man. I mean, white woman. That's not going to happen.
Well, based on finance, yes, but based on other things, he might still have. If we're talking financially, he might not be able to meet up. Okay, but sometimes you have rich black women with white women who prefer dusty black men for some other reasons.
Oh yeah,
financially, yeah, he might not be able.
They like
dogs. But you're probably talking about like very old white grannies who got money to young black men. I'm like a poor white guy can still get a young black girl who's got a career going on. Like it's not something that happens every day, but I've seen that. I've seen that personally.
Yeah. So fundamentally,
okay.
A pound or a dollar, right, is worth more in the hands of a white person than it is in a black person. A pound or a dollar, same amount of currency in the hands of a white person is worth more than that same amount of currency in the hands of a black person.
Well, you can't just generalize. That's just generalizing.
It's absolute. No, absolute.
I've seen like white people who have serious managerial skills with money, and I've seen black people with very limited resources, especially in the West, do a lot for themselves. So I think it just depends. You know,
but you see,
if you want to say generally, um, okay, generally, okay, like what I can say, like white people who have generational wealth, rich, they can keep that generational wealth for many generations to come. But black people with generational wealth, sometimes they squander it in the middle of 50, 60 years. Yes, maybe that is a case, mostly in the West, you know. Yeah, but I think just to generalize, I don't really think so,
well,
you
I'm
know.
going to push the point because the value. So there's money. There's a money then has a value. So there's a difference between currency and the money. So the money could be physical, it could be notes, it could be oil, gold, diamond, even people. But then there's a value on that physical entity. And that value, even though the physical thing can remain the same size, the value can go up or down and move. So currency moves. Now, currency is value, and value is directly related to culture. That is why when you
Mhm.
push when the demands for the dollar, with the dollar comes the American culture, the value for what is all American. That's what puts the value in the physical money. People don't talk about currency. They only talk about currency when they're traveling, and they say, "Oh, what's the exchange rate?" And they're talking about money, 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 but they're not actually thinking about the invisible, which is in the realm of the invisible is value. You can't see it.
Okay,
Currency,
I
you
see.
can't see
I
it.
see. Three. Speaking of money, can we backtrack to the original title of Kaizo? The
Mhm.
white man learning the African language, becoming more African than Black Americans who Kaizo believes hardly learn African languages. I think I think the other thing I would like to say is this: there's value that is attached to knowing French or English or at least even many European languages that are dominating, even German to a certain extent. There's value in knowing English. There's no value in knowing most African languages. If we talk about trade, if we talk about capital, there's really no much value because we live in a connected globe, and the African languages don't hold much value in knowing them. When you know them, you can't really push businesses in a global scale if you know you're African. It's like it's
That's
not really
correct. That's
in
correct.
value. So that is also playing into the encouragement of not knowing our African languages. Now, for a white person can even if it's a white person, they can only know Swahili or Zulu. They still have got social credit. They can do a lot of business. They've got access to many things. So them knowing our languages, it's just for fun for them. They do it for fun, but they still have got a strong social credit
That's
with
right. Correct.
regardless. So that like I'm just trying to be practical about why things are like this. We have to be honest and call a spade a spade.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
go
So,
on.
yeah, I think, white people, I think they understand how society and community works. I think they have studied things like that for a long time, and they actually know for you to be accepted in any society, you must speak that language. You understand? I think it is really obvious. If I come to South Africa and I come to Zulu and I begin to speak Zulu, I'm from Cameroon, they're gonna accept me more than a Cameroonian who can speak Zulu because it's just
No,
gonna
they
make.
don't. They don't, Kaizo. I mean, Kifaru, they don't. We have got more than 5 million whites in South Africa. I can tell you, even during early period of their colonization, I can tell you these people were not learning our languages. They had domination. So as long as they had that domination force, they didn't need to learn any of our languages. Even today, they don't. They hardly you hardly see white people who call them South Africans speaking any native language. So I don't think that's true. I don't
Yeah,
think that's
well, okay, well, so the truth of the matter is, yes, there's not much value in learning any African language when it comes to economics and businesses, and no one does transaction with African languages on a international scale.
What,
So
what,
I think people just do that for fun, as Lucy
okay,
said,
yes,
just
it's
yes.
for
fun.
fun. And
Let's explore that fun. Let's
so
explore the
why?
fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Watch this. Watch this. let's go deeper into finance now. Look, banking. So banking, when they want to open up another a branch, right? What they do, they try and get the local community to have faith and trust in the bank's brand. So what does the bank do? What do the corporations do? What they try to do is to do some local community project. Yes, they do something with the local community to win the confidence of the local
Of course,
community.
of
Yes,
course.
right.
Yeah.
And
The
that's what I'm
blackface.
seeing with the
They throw
video.
in the blackface. They throw
Pardon?
in the blackface. It's the blackface. They throw in the black mask,
Yeah,
and
right,
then
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so in the same way that Kaiser was showing the video of that man learning the languages, it's the same thing as banking, right? That you've got to understand. So all our money now is in a bank. We've got our money in different banks, right? But people, the bank tries to give the illusion that the bank has no cultural bias, right? Nobody thinks of a bank as being a racist
Oh
organization.
no, no, no. They are here in South
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah, but no, but hold it,
We have
hold it, hold it.
proven
Yeah,
it
but the
many
market,
times.
yes, but
Yeah,
the
but
bank,
like in general, yeah, yeah, in
yeah,
general
yeah,
terms,
that's
yes.
right. So nobody really talks about banking. They talk all other things, but when you put your money in a bank, you just assume that that bank has no bias. It's kind of grey,
Mhm.
and and
That's why I believe in at some point. That's why for now I'm just supporting the BRICS because they want to provide a parallel system. But
yeah,
at the end, I believe Africa having their own independent system, like where we can have our own banking systems that are
yeah,
not connected to this Western
yeah, that's
monetary
right.
system.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
But BRICS,
let's talk
BRICS,
about one
BRICS
second.
is a good. Okay.
Let's talk about this banking. So dress earlier on, we were talking about how that white person can speak African better than, but all it is just like a banking operation. It's like a financial operation, winning trust and confidence and investment. And so as that investment goes into the bank, you don't know what the bank is investing in. So the bank will then say, okay, I'm going to pay you 3% or 5% interest if you put your money with us because it's safe. But you don't know exactly how they are investing that money that is in the bank. They can be investing in projects that will damage your children and your grandchildren for years to come. So you getting this 2%, 3% in the short term, you think it's doing well. Your money is so-called safe and it's gaining interest, but you don't understand how the interest, how that value, interest, value, culture, currency is being generated. It's being generated on the abuse of Black Africa,
you know that
directly and indirectly.
there's many white people in South Africa who have seen them trending on social media just for knowing for speaking affluent
African, Zulu, or yeah,
yeah. So and
yeah,
then but
yeah.
I've realized that it's not only black. So because there's this white guy I know on TikTok, he speaks Korean, he knows Mandarin, he speaks Japanese, and they get impressed whenever he speaks with
Mm.
them. They get so impressed and shocked. And I realized
Well,
that, bro, like,
I had
when
that
people
too.
hold
I
the
had.
highest value, they do Kifaru. That's not us
Yeah,
being defeated.
true, no, true. Okay, me, I had that when I was in Ukraine. I learned Russian, but when I go to Lviv, I speak Ukrainian. But since I learned Russian in Russia, so my accent was I had no accent, and when I speak, these people will come and gather around me, and they were so intrigued.
Yeah,
How come an African you speak? They say, "Oh, ungoverned BS a sense of," meaning you
yeah.
speak without an accent. So if I speak on phone, they could not tell. So that's true. They were really intrigued that, oh, are you the one speaking or someone else is speaking? I said, no, I'm the one. Yeah, I think,
So
yeah. So just news like Cameroon has officially fired in the application to join BRICS. Let's see how it's going to go. Cameroon
okay,
and
okay.
Pakistan.
Your country, Cameroon.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Okay, no power to
officially,
Cameroon, man, because
let's
because
see if they're gonna accept. I don't know what their terms and conditions for
yeah,
being a member. I don't
but
know,
you
but
know that last year that admit like they only included Ethiopia in from the south of Sahara, and I mean
hmm
they took so many of Middle Eastern countries. You know,
yeah,
I've heard
Cameroon
that.
and Pakistan and one other country. I don't know the third one. They just officially
Okay,
handed in their request to join.
so
So
I saw Russia. They've deported. I don't know if it's true. They've sent their military in Niger after they kicked out the USA. I mean, I know
yes,
they need protection, but
yes, yes, yes.
what is your opinion on that?
Well, there is a vacuum. Okay, there's a vacuum, and there's an immediate vacuum, and I think those people of Niger, they're lacking some military equipment to like overpower
Okay.
those terrorists. I think that immediate vacuum, I think Russia should feel it, but it should be, to me, a temporal agreement. You
Okay,
understand?
so if they called in, let's say, I wouldn't trust Nigeria at the moment because of that thing they did with ECOWAS. But if they didn't do that, will you think it would have been bad if they called in Nigeria military, which is the fourth strongest, South African military, which is the third strongest, and maybe Algeria or maybe Angola, because Angola has got a very powerful military as well. Let's just stick to South Sahara. And then these three militaries, they go there and fill the gap. What do you think of? Or do you think we don't have capabilities? I mean, I know Russia, they probably, as he
Of of
said,
of,
they've got
of course.
capabilities.
Of course, but
Okay.
we had to go as we had to go under the agency of ECOWAS, but ECOWAS
Yeah.
don't have the power enough to rally all these people to create an army. Individually, yes, but we should go under one like ECOWAS force. We could do that, we could do that, but I don't think anyone is willing. I don't think who is going to finance
You,
it. The ECOWAS not got. I think it boils down to the financing, because
you know, Kifaru,
lately I heard the South Africa is going to Kivu, the South Africa, what's it called? The South African force, the South African, what's that one called?
it's the SENDEF. It's not, it's led by South Africa, but it's the whole, it's the
Yeah, the
SEDEC military.
Southern, yeah, SADC, yeah,
Okay.
SADC. So they have to deploy them to Congo, I think the North Kivu region,
Yeah, but
so
to be honest, Kifaru, SA military has been there for decades, but that was like SA military. Like now they went there as SDF as well. But look, sometimes I don't know. I hope they just fighting for the right thing there. I guess my point was this, and I want IC3 to listen to this as well. You know how many times I engage our people, and some people have got like a, and I understand their mind is like very domestic. They only their knowledge and interest is only domestic. They think that the country can resolve its own issues. There's not really external forces that are manipulating systems, that are compromising systems, and and then and in reality, you look at the expansion of USA military. They've got more than 900 bases. I think it's more than 500 or 900 bases across the globe. So, I mean, sometimes people just don't want to look at that because they just denial. It's not like they don't see that. I mean, you cannot deny the fact that America is penetrating all these countries and forcing the hegemony on many countries of our countries. Because if they did not, they won't need to have these military bases. They will just be around USA.
so what's the relationship?
I'm,
What's
I'm
how
I'm
that
saying
okay?
I'm saying even Kaizo, he does this. He likes to act like these African countries are not sabotaged somehow. So like it's like the problem is just the African leadership. I always look at that as the easy way out of the big
Yeah,
problem we have. The
Yeah.
exactly.
problem is not the leadership. The
Like
problem is the leadership. That's it.
if you have common sense, you might easily come to the conclusion now that at this point, France will be trying to sabotage Niger. America will be trying to sabotage Niger because they've ended their contract with them and they are not happy. So I think it's more it's wise decision for them to bring Russian like a backup, because Russian is the only one that can stand the technology of these other two to these two people. I saw them like the brought like heavy equipment. It seems like they were air defense stuff. So I
But
think that do.
don't you think that mindset is very dangerous among the people of Africa? Look, it's very difficult because you have to draw a thin line where our leaders are messing up things, they're not doing the right things, and
Mhm.
have a thin line where there's external forces like that are really compromising the leadership. I
Yeah,
think people struggle with that.
yeah, that's right. So let's go back to our
Mm.
earlier analogy. It's the same thing thinking about the African women, the black woman. Yeah, you you're saying the people, but it's the same thing as we said earlier on. The woman was going to go for where the power is. So therefore, we don't complain about how the women are thinking and their decisions.
We are not women, IC3.
Exactly. So therefore, we must focus on the solution because as we discussed earlier, survival mode. The city is they got to feed the babies. Yeah. So the city
Mhm.
or the group or the society thinks like a woman. The society,
So,
the
so
people, the community thinks like a woman. So
Mhm.
don't complain about how women think. That's how women are. Men
so
got
I
to deal with the situation.
Yeah, so IC3, what do you think of the BRICS and the failure of China? I mean, I'm so disappointed in China, and I'll explain why, and I'll let you answer me what you think. And maybe Kifaro can say as well, because Cameroon applied to join as well. So you will be looking forward to BRICS. I'm a full supporter of BRICS, but the way China, like I view China as like the most powerful member on BRICS, like just like USA or NATO. That's just the practical like reality of things at the moment. And you look at how what is happening to Palestine with Israel, and it just shows you the lack of China rising to leadership. Like what I like about America. I'm not a big fan of America in geopolitics, but what I like about them is they are loyal to the countries that they are leading. They are loyal to they want countries to win trust on them. And one of the strategy they use is that when one of their partners is in trouble, they always rise to the occasion and defend them no matter what. So I saw the position of Palestine as one of the position for China to really prove to many countries, especially in the global south, to show them that China can rise and actually compete and protect the small countries. How is China expecting many countries to really trust BRICS and follow the leadership of China if they can even do nothing when a small country like Palestine is being pillaged by Israel? I mean, look, I know they probably look. China is not. They don't have to help other countries. You get my point. I'm not putting that responsibility on China. But if they want to rise to a position of global, if they have got a global agenda and they really want to be in a position of leadership, they
They
need
should
to show
show
up.
something.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
point. So that other countries can win, they can trust them and say, you know what, America cannot do us shit if we've got China. China will come and fight with us. Russia, look, Russia has been doing that very well. Russia has always been that country that I can say, you know what, if America attacks South Africa, I can trust Russia, go ask for like, align with us so that we can defend. Russia is that country that can rise and help small countries. The Chinese are selfish, bro. They only think for themselves.
Okay. Yeah, the BRICS, right? The BRICS organization, it's fundamentally um, Africa has no friends. Black Africa has no friends. So it's trying to compromise to survive. The BRICS coalition is still anti-African. It's still anti-Black African. The long-term goal is just to say, look, okay, we just want to beat away the Americans so we can take over.
I think, yeah, sorry
Africa,
for
Black
cutting you
Africa
short.
has
I
no
think
friends.
I think BRICS knows the potential of Africa. I think they know the
100%.
potential of Africa, and they might be trying to negotiate on a bias, on a bias level that's going to benefit them. But I don't think South Africa is that stupid. You understand? I think if they're there and they have the support for most African countries, they might try to protect the continent. I just wish so. You understand? Because South Africa is the founding father of BRICS, and Africa has so much potential and resource that the whole world is actually trying to get a bite of. Everyone is trying to have a piece of Africa, and that is our potential.
Definitely.
If we can use BRICS to kind of solidify our
Buy
power
time.
and influence, that would be good.
That's right. Use
So
BRICS to buy time, but Africa has
yeah,
no Black Africa has no friends.
yeah, I think we know that. We know that. We just have to go, as I said, on. We have to keep that pride that we don't have people. So we're gonna negotiate now
Mm,
on that
mm.
term that okay, we need. It's all about competition. You understand? It's not. We don't. It's not. We don't want to be friends with you. We want to be business partners, and
I
we
agree.
do this.
I fully agree with you guys both. Like I fully agree with your both sentiment, 100%. And I see three. If we look at this the security in terms of the development of Africa, looking at security, but not talking directly about military, and just from a point of intelligence, how can we have our own source of internet or where we share information, where we capture data, where
Mhm.
we've got our own networks, like something that cannot be breached by other continents. Like let's just have this centralized African development going on. It's
Yeah,
like I'm not big in tech. I just want you to explain what do we need in a sense of technology, like how China developed itself and they have their own security. USA the same thing. The Western European countries, Russia, they've got their own internet.
yeah. But you
They've
answered
got
that
their
Okay,
earlier on.
let me speak from a tech from a tech I don't want to say specialist or from technical tech guy when it comes to the internet stuff. Okay, when internet, if you know how things work, it's only one company that is charged in the whole world of providing IP addresses. It's called I don't know, I forgot the abbreviation, INC, whatever. It is American based company. Okay. But you can buy completely a package of IP address ranges from them. Okay. I don't think they can stop anyone from doing that. That is easy. But to actually create the infrastructure, it's not that big. It is big, but you can start from really small. If we have our own data centers, I don't think we have any African owned data centers.
no,
We
South,
have
South
we have
Africa.
like
South
uh,
Africa does. South Africa does. But
is
that
owned by South Africa or not by third party, because we have people putting
I
their
will
data
lie.
centers,
I
people
will
putting
I
their
will
data
lie.
centers in Africa. We
I
have
will
that.
lie. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll lie if I say I know. I just know that we've got a data center that is been built not
Yeah,
so long ago.
yeah. There are data centers in Africa, but they are third party. There are business people putting their data. I know like three.
Okay, okay,
There's
okay. I
one like
understand
French
now.
French company that's around Africa. It has some little data centers. Yeah, they do. But
Okay, okay,
we have like a data center that is African owned, and we can use the wires and make
okay,
little hubs
okay.
all over Africa. I don't really know if we have that.
So this
That
is
is
the
like
information we need. But carry on, Kifaru, because I think you got a big
yeah.
knowledge
So
there.
if we have that data center, then we have access to our own data right hand. And with that data, we can use it, and we all know data as gold. We can use it to do anything. We can use it to create our own social media using that data. You understand? We can build our own platform on top of that data,
And
but we need to
banking.
collect that data from our source, not buying data from other people. Because you buy data from people, they can filter the data. They can give you this. They can give you the scrap. What you
So
don't need.
now, what will be the benefits of us putting more advanced satellites in the space to help? Because if you look at the military of Russia, Israel,
Mhm,
USA, China, they
mhm.
use satellites a lot for their
Yes,
security. So how
yes,
can we
yes.
also get in the position of satellites now?
Okay. Like satellites for now, they've got so many type of satellite. Each one is doing their own stuff. So let's talk about like information, uh, satellite for communication technology. Okay, so if we have something like that, okay, we don't have relays, because right now all what we're doing is relay. We want to communicate to France, maybe we need to hit some France relay something, and there's latency, and we don't have the control. If you want to actually have your data, you need to control it, like everything, but we don't have control. They can shut the data
So
things.
So
so
can I say
basically
solution?
basically
Solution.
our own independent
Yeah.
data center and
Yes.
Yes,
satellite.
Yeah.
And
yes,
what
we need
about
our own.
solution?
Yeah, we need our own independent data centers. Like lately, Nigeria, they had some satellite, but for imagery satellite. imagery satellite, they just scan and take pictures on a loop. So you can use
mm.
those pictures and see if something has come to that area, maybe after 2 minutes. So that's how they use to track terrorists. So you can say, oh, after 2 seconds, there's a new image. And if there is something there, you can know. But they could not manage it because it was a third party thing and it died. You
So,
understand?
so what about the tech on the oceans and controlling our ships, the trading ships and all that? How do we build such infrastructure as well? Because I don't think we're there yet as well.
Yeah, but you see, you're using the
Yeah,
word
but
we.
you know, like for tech, to me, I don't think it's a big deal when you come to ship things where I don't really get more information. But for tech now, everything is just linkage. It's a network. I take my own network, I give it to you, and you give me your network so that we can
The
communicate. But
problem
I
the
control
problem
my
is
side of the net.
we don't own that. Yeah, but we don't own. IC3,
We don't
go
we
ahead.
don't own
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
own. We
So,
need to, like, the cables
yeah,
now that go under the sea is owned by Google and it's owned by another company
It's
that's called Sea
USA.
Line.
yeah.
It's
The
called
Yeah.
Sea
solution,
Line.
yeah, the solution lies in the words. When we're speaking, we use the word we and our. So by promoting and clarifying, goes back to the beginning, identity. There has to be an identity that the we refers to. Because then once you clarify identity, all these other things come as byproducts. As long as there's no strength in the we, when you mention we, if somebody drills down, say, who do you mean exactly by we?
So when we say we just mean Africa.
Africans,
That's
bro.
how I
All
see
right.
it.
So
Yeah.
then it goes back to
Africans.
then it goes back to the beginning of the stream.
Yes.
Is the white man that can speak better African, more African than the black American who can't speak an African language? See, it always boils back
Okay,
down to the
okay,
we.
okay, okay. This is the thing. I think you try to make it very complicated. Anyone that is on the continent, that is for the advancement of that continent. If like, let's take, I know people like to bring white in South Africa. If Africa is going bad, if there's no internet connection, there's no electricity, they too gonna suffer that. Not only the Africans gonna suffer bad internet. Last time they had internet shortage, the white people in South Africa didn't have internet because they were white. They had to suffer that as well. You understand? If there's an earthquake, there's a disaster, everyone in the continent will suffer. So anyone that is in that continent, we need to make sure that we can have access to communication for everyone. So the we is us
Kifaru,
in that Africa, that if that something goes wrong, it's going to affect we.
Yeah, but the
Kifaru, do you
we
know
and
that?
the infrastructure.
Can I say this? IC3, IC3. Just 2 weeks ago, our government just found out that America has been spying on Ramaphosa and many of our top officials. They've been listening to their calls. They've been tracking them on online, like everything. They've been spying on them. This information came out, and you see how it's like South Africa is one of those African countries that are like in position of leading the continent, right? But it's so compromised, and part of it is because I don't mind having other groups here, but they shouldn't be in position of power where they can compromise our sovereignty.
Right.
You see, so I
And
just I
sovereignty,
just think that's
sovereignty goes with
dangerous, man.
identity again. Compromise
Mm,
our sovereignty. So then it goes back to what Kifala was saying about pride. Compromise
mm.
our sovereignty. So sovereignty goes with the clarification of identity. You say, well, who exactly is sovereign? You can then say, we are sovereign, or who are you? This is who we are. This is how many of us. Yeah, it boils back down to the clarification of identity, and then everything else comes downstream. Just once you're even in as an individual, once you've got yourself together, you can do lots of things. When you're confused, even within yourself, you can't get things done. So the same thing is scalable. It applies to a family, it applies to a society, it applies to a nation. Get yourself together. What does it mean to get yourself together? It means to clarify your identity. What what umbrella are you under so that we can work together and get things done? Things happen automatically once you clarify identity.
Exactly. That's how you come back to my point. We must go into business with that aggressive mindset to compete, not to be an associate or not to be a partner. We need to be ourselves. We need to compete. We want to be like you. We want to control things ourselves because information technology is huge. You know, this is the age of international information technology, and people say data is the new goal. What are we doing with the data? We're generating so much data in Africa. We almost have 1 point how many billion people. We don't even control that data. Third party, they take that data for us, and they can do harm just with data. Massive harm. We don't even know. But if we keep it,
Yes.
we can use
Yeah.
it, and so many things we don't have. We pay foreign companies to censor our data from Western countries. They have access to very vital part of our lives, our information. They do. And it's like you can imagine Cameroon is a foreign country, it's a foreign company that's actually producing national identity card. Can you imagine?
A foreign
Yeah,
company.
let
Oh
me
man.
just
Yes,
shout
a
out to
foreign
my
French
brother.
See
company
that?
Let
is
me just
That's
shout
a
out.
mess.
Hey,
That is a mess.
guys,
exactly.
guys, you need to respect the member of BRICS on this panel. Let me just shout out to my brother, your one pillar there. Peace, brother. Hey, Akifan,
Yeah.
I'm saying, you ever think we will ever be free as Africans, man? You
Yeah,
think we'll ever be free?
we need to have a prideful mindset. Then we go into the business like people who have self confidence. You know, we have a lot of coons among us, black legs. We have to eliminate them one by one. Though they say each day they give birth to a new one, but it's a struggle that we need to fight. We know we are on the downside, but we need to come together. That's why I say Pan Africanism is
Ayo,
something that
guys,
Yes.
is a must. It's a
Yeah.
must.
Kaizo, Kaizo, where do you see Kenya going 10 years from now? Where's Kenya 10 years from now, Kaizo? Economical.
Yeah, all the
Kaizo.
Wangas lady will marry to white people. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's the
that,
danger.
that,
That's the danger.
Ayo, Kaizo, I'm speaking with you, man. Where is the economy of Kenya 10 years from now? You know, Kifaru, Kenyans are one of those weird Africans, man. I think Kenyans are one of those people
do you know
who,
why, Lizo? They don't say
who
it, but the British has got Kenya cock, but they don't say it.
That's
You know,
right.
Kenyans love white people, but they're one of those few Africans who just love like they love white people more than any group of
if
white
you
people.
see any white man
Africans.
Mau
telling you
Mau.
that, if you see a white man advising his fellow white people to go to African country and they says Kenya, just know that country is done. Because a white man will do advertisement for other white people, go to Kenya, go to Kenya. Just know
But
Kenya.
but you, but you were speaking of pride, Giver.
Yes.
I don't think Kenyans have that. They don't view it
They
like that. But
don't.
it might
They,
work
they,
for
they
them. But
don't. They
listen,
don't.
but listen, Kifaru, it might work for Kenyans because maybe for them they just do business with, like, they don't have this thing of being attached. They can sell other African out as well. Like, they look after themselves. Maybe they might succeed, like, for themselves. Maybe then I mean, they were willing to even send their police to Haiti. Because,
Exactly.
and
That's part
under
of their
the
situation. You have to listen to your master. You understand? But I, as a person, I was not against that. Not because of
okay,
it was just
okay.
it was just for me, it's a different phase of Africa. We too can send our forces to go and intervene somewhere else. I was coming from that point of view. But people did not listen. They say, oh, it was America, it's America. They failed to understand that even African Union troops is still controlled by America. You
Oh,
understand?
of course. That
So
I agree. But,
yeah.
but 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 I'm just saying, I've been observing Kenyans, man. I know it's not all, but a good number of them that I've seen, they really don't care, bro. They don't have problem with what.
Yeah, yeah. Kenya, they're not doing, but they're just so lenient. They just love the
Yeah,
white.
yeah.
They don't argue with them. Okay, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. They don't confront white people. You never see a
What
Kenyan
do you think
confronting a
caused that?
European. It does not happen. Eh?
What do you think caused that? What do you what do you think caused that?
It's the Wanga tribe, Kezo's tribe, man. It's the one that
Come on,
caused all
don't be tribal. Don't be tribal. Don't be
Oh
tribal.
dear.
Yeah,
that.
keep on.
I think it's just people who just want that's survivor instinct, Jose. They
Okay,
just
Survival.
survive.
okay.
They
Survival.
want to survive. There's a survivor
Now I see
instinct.
your point. now I see your
Yes,
point about pride. I see your
exactly.
point about pride, Kifar. I mean, I
Yeah,
mean, I mean, I mean, if they are, even their women will just admit, like bold about how much they really want the white man. I mean, it's amazing to witness that, man. I mean, power to them.
These
I'm just
women,
saying, it's
yeah,
these
and,
crazy,
and,
man.
women,
and they're doing
these
well. You
women
see
alone.
they're surviving. You know, they are not. If you look at the economy, it's a bit. They can't really make a decision on. You know, they're not. I don't know. It seems it's good for them, but as you said, they're not confrontational. They just say, "Okay, yes, sir. Okay,
Mm.
if can have a
So
little bit of rice,
It's
I'll eat
feminine.
and be
It's
quiet."
so
feminine.
they are very
It's
docile. They are
female.
peaceful. They are peaceful people.
Yes,
Very, very. You know, very, very. So
But they probably no. I
children
wouldn't say
now.
I wouldn't say they similar to Tanzanians because not so long ago the Tanzanians were one of the biggest Pan African drivers. They were like very bold and strong on their stands. They actually helped South Africa a lot even during our struggle. I wouldn't.
look, the biggest Kenyan Pan Africanist is just a talkative. He's not. Have you ever seen him? What's it called? PLA Lumumba. He just talks. You know, he
so,
doesn't really want to
so
engage.
so
He's
so
just talking.
Kenyans will sell us all of us out if they get the highest bid.
Yes, exactly, exactly. They'll say, "No worry, it's my brother, Jambo. No problem. Come and stay. He's going to be a brother." You know, they'll teach him Swahili, and so
Because
see,
sometimes
all white people studying
sometimes you listen to
Swahili. All
sometimes
white
you
people
listen to
studying
Kaizo.
Swahili. Yes.
Sometimes you listen to Kaizo speak here. You're like,
Have you
this
not
guy
seen
must
how
be.
Kaiser
You
worship the
just you
white
just have
man?
to say. You just have to say this guy's either is joking for like more reaction and views, or I don't know, man. I don't believe most things that Kaizo say, man. There's no way.
Well,
No,
have you not
there's
seen how
no
he
way.
worships the white man here? Every time he talks about how the white man's IQ is bigger and stronger and better. Have you
No,
ever?
I think Kaizo does that for reaction, man. I don't think he
Yeah,
means that.
he's doing it.
There's
Yeah,
no way.
Kaiser has a deep, Kaiser has
I,
a deep, deep understanding of
I
white
know. I
supremacy.
know.
He has an
Well,
understanding.
let's
Yeah,
hope so.
that's true. That's true. But I think Kaizo is this new age of social media. He understands how social media works. I don't think he means a lot of things he says, and I wouldn't want to believe that. I think he just doing it for reaction and so that this channel can grow.
But
But
what he
don't
means
forget,
when he
when he hear
say
serious
things
things
about
and in jest,
Somalis, he means it. Only when he talks
Oh
about
yes,
Somalia,
I've
he
seen
means
that.
it.
I've seen that he's got beef with Somalis. When he
When
speaks
he say
about
things
Somalis,
about
he means it.
Somalia, he actually means it. Yeah, that's
What did
actually the truth.
what, what did Somalis do to Kaizo, guys? What did
No,
they do
because
to
they're
him?
in his country, because they cross each other's path in
Oh
Kenya. I
shit.
think that's why.
Oh damn. Okay. Okay. So after all, Kaizo is not really that Pan African.
He says Panwanga. He didn't say it's not even Kenya. He says it's Panwanga.
So
Yeah,
so so the Somalians are just problematic there to like Zimbabweans are to us because hey man, we
yeah, maybe
we
yeah.
didn't lose them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
leave jokes aside now. We need to form our own board. I think if we can use the BRICS model and learn from them, and we give South Africa the upper hand, so we can try to come together and create agencies and institutions that can at least compete with this what is already in place, because what is already in place is so powerful, and us
let,
single-handedly we cannot fight it.
let me say
Yeah,
something
that's
about the
true.
BRICS model. Let me say something about the BRICS model. The BRICS model, as it comes to do with identity, BRICS and identity. The BRICS model uses the the 4 unit identity model. The 4 units, United Nations use the same system, the African Union uses the same model, and the European Union uses the same model, and the United Nations uses the same model. The identity model that they use, that BRICS uses, is the 4 model, which is European, North African, Sub-Saharan, and Asian.
What about Latin America? Because they've got Brazil there.
Argentina.
No, no, no.
Oh, Argentina is South
American
America.
system,
Is
no,
it
the
Latin
American
or
system
South?
is different. The UK system and the American system is different from the BRICS system.
Wait, I see. I'm getting more confused. Didn't you just say they use the same identities like identity systems?
No, no. There's basically three systems. There's ones that the American uses, the US. There's one that the UK uses, and there's one that the European Union uses, and that one is also used by the United Nations. So, and that's the system for the United Nations and the BRICS is that there are Europeans, North Africans, Sub-Saharans,
I see
and
three.
Asians.
Pause. I see three. Isn't what we call sub-Sahara south of Sahara?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, let's start to normalize calling it south of Sahara.
But hold it. The BRICS system, when they say sub-Saharan, we think of African black people. Yeah, sub-Sahara, most people think of black Africans.
Yeah,
But
let's just call it South Sahara, not Sub-Sahara. South.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
yeah,
People don't like
yeah,
that term.
good,
Yeah.
good, good. But that's the language in the system. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yes, I'm using the system language.
Language.
You made a good point. You made a good point. It's
Yeah.
true. It should be
That's
South
the language in the
Sahara,
system.
but
That sounds good.
yeah, but I'm using the system language so we can see how
All
they
right.
by saying sub-Sahara, you've made a good point. It means that we're subhuman or sub or less than. But let's stick with their language, those terms, and then we can see how they're thinking. So European, North African, Sub-Saharan, and Asian. That's the categories. But what they say is that a Sub-Saharan, a white person, by being a member of a sub-Saharan state, they can be African. So therefore, a white South African is African. Why? Because they're part of the sub-Saharan grouping. So it becomes unracialized. See the confusion in the system.
Well, okay. Isaac Ray, I hope you verse with the term. What is Black British?
Right. The term Black British is designed to confuse people because officially
No, don't try to make it. I'm
no,
just
no,
trying
no.
to
I'm going to
come
explain.
into your
There's
argument that
no,
you say
no, there
people
is
that are
no
white cannot
such
be
thing
African,
as
but
Black
people
British.
in
No,
African
listen.
can be
It does
Europeans that
not
are black.
exist. It does not exist. There is no government code for Black British. They put that terminal in the media to confuse people, but there's no code. All British people are white by codification. There's no such
Okay.
term as
Okay.
Black British.
All
So
right.
the British system has five. It says that there are Northern European, Southern European, Black, Asian, Chinese, and Arab, mixed race and Arab. So there's six categories by the British standard. There are four categories by the United Nations or European Union BRICS standard, and by the American standard they have white, black, Asian, and
Okay, I see three.
American.
Let's not lose what you were going to say.
Yeah.
Stick to what you were going to say.
Yes. So the BRICS entity, judging by its foundation on identity, will allow Africa to be it will destroy Black Africa. That's what we understand as Black Africa. The BRICS coalition is designed to dissolve it.
Can
So
you elaborate?
what is your solution in the meantime? Because like we have to start from somewhere. I mean, BRICS is as Kifaru said, it's a temporary solution. What is your actual solution?
Right.
Let's say BRICS is not there, but yeah.
So the solution is in the promotion of Black African unity as an entity. Black African unity, not just African, because that can be it's because the whole world, the world construct is anti-Black African. It's that's the whole world
I see.
construct.
That's not enough, man. That's that. Practically speaking, that's not enough. We
Practically
like.
speaking, you've got to clarify identity when when you're speaking and you use the like we need to do this, our this. You're fundamentally
I
flawed.
think, see,
You're flawed
IC3, I
in
think I
your
get you.
thinking
I
if you
think
don't
I think
clarify identity.
we use this word African and as a race and as a continent intertwined this, so we get confused. Okay.
Exactly.
I don't think black white people will tell you the Africans, but they will tell you they're South Africans because that's your nationality. Okay. But when we are
No,
working on
they're
Africa, we're
not
working on,
African.
yeah,
They
we're working on
definitely.
Africa based on nationalities, and we is the countries. That was my argument that people say I'm
Okay,
including the white
but
people.
let's focus on like tangible things, like actual things. Remember, BRICS. The main priority is trade, right?
Hmm.
Manufacturers,
Especially that your
connecting.
Swift system.
Yes, create coming up with their financial system, right? Like a
Yes,
global financial system. I mean,
yes,
those are practical things that China is in place of being able to build that such infrastructure. Russia, and that will benefit Brazil. I mean,
Yeah,
Latin, South America,
hmm,
Africa,
yeah,
India,
but
and all that.
Lottie, Lottie, when
But
we talk about
I mean,
trade,
IC3, do you think we can wake up tomorrow as Africa? We can build our own financial system, like a continental financial system. Okay, are
yes,
we in position of building these things?
yes. So when you talk about trade, right, you've got to understand that having being perceived as being righteous and fair is a fundamental aspect of trade. Trade has got to be perceived. Your trade has got to be perceived to be moral and fair, because then it relates back to banking.
mm,
So that's why they have concepts like the fair trade. So all the time they've always, in order to trade effectively, you've got to be perceived as being able to trade in a just manner, which then relates back to culture and identity. All of these are
So,
aspects
so, uh,
of
so
trade.
how's BRICS changing our identity now? I want you to go deep
yeah,
on this because you
yeah.
obviously know
Don't
something.
really, yeah.
All right. Yes. Okay. So the BRICS coalition appears to be anti-American. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
It is.
It is, yes.
It is anti-American, but it is not pro-Black African.
Well, I think we need to take advantage of it. I don't think that they're going to
Yeah,
say,
I
"Oh,
don't
we,
think
we
Kibaru
want
is
to
right.
make it pro Black African." We need to take
Yeah,
advantage of the BRICS.
Yeah. But
I
how to
don't
take
think I
advantage?
don't think
How?
I see three. Wait, I don't even think we look at BRICS like we want it to be pro-African. It's just an
No.
option, another option that could be better than the option we've been dealing with. And if it's not gonna be better for us, we can always change our minds and walk out of it. I think
And you need to know not all African countries are in BRICS.
we'll
So when
join
you say
BRICS.
it's not
Yes,
That's
pro
right.
African,
That's right.
what
Yeah.
do you really mean? Not everyone and not every country in this world, not every
it's gonna
region.
join BRICS.
Yeah. So this is something that the thing, the what I like about BRICS is like we are the founding fathers of it. So if there's any
Who's the we?
decision
Yeah,
that's going to be taken out of BRICS, you have like
yeah,
South Africa.
yeah.
Who
That
is
is
the
like,
we? When you say founding fathers of BRICS,
okay, South
who is
Africa,
the
South
founding?
Okay,
Africa, South
Right. What is
Africa,
South Africa? Who
South
is South
Africa.
Africa? Is South Africa black?
okay. I see three.
Ah,
Let's say this. Let's say this.
what South Africa is not black?
What is
Let-
it?
let- let-
What is South
yeah,
Africa? What is it?
it's 80% black. I see three. Remember,
Is it?
white people, but I see three. Remember, white people wouldn't want us to be on BRICS. They don't even like the thought of that. So it's obviously black that are in BRICS. But here's the point.
Mm,
South Africa, it's a former member of BRICS, and then that comes with a certain portion of power, especially when
exactly.
South Africa drags a couple of African countries behind it. That gives us more power and leverage on BRICS.
Hmm.
Unlike the current systems in place where they were actually created when we were oppressed. We were not in
We don't
position
even
of power.
want
We were not in
us.
position of making
Yeah, just
decisions.
even check. Just even look at the United Nations Security Council. The 5 permanent members, and
Yep.
we're not even there. They just
China
rotate us
is
and say, "Come
China.
and go,
Right.
and go, come and go, come and go,"
Yes.
and they have
Yeah,
veto. It doesn't matter what you
yeah,
guys say; those 5 people can override all your decisions. What's the
of
Right.
point of
course.
that? You
Exactly.
understand?
So tell me about South Africa. When
Mm.
you say you're proud that South Africa is the foundation of the BRICS, tell me
Yes.
what is South Africa? It appears to
South
me,
Africa as a
It's
country of
just,
Africa,
it's
as an
just the
African
country of
nation.
Africa.
it appears
I
to
see.
me to be a white supremacist country with lots of black people living in there.
Yeah, but I see three. But I see three. We need to be able to draw a thin line. I get where you're going, and I think you've got a sense of truth in that. But we need to understand: are we in BRICS because of white South Africans, or are we in BRICS because of black South Africans? I would like you to answer that.
It appears to me that South Africa is in BRICS for for the white people. It's the white
No, no,
people are
no,
But
no,
driving.
Josie
no,
just said the white don't
no,
even
no,
want to
no.
be part of
I
BRICS.
see
It's the
three.
black
They don't
Who
people.
want
said
us to
that?
be part of BRICS. No,
Who
I'm
said that
telling
the
you.
white people want to be part of BRICS? Who
I
said
see
that?
three. I see three.
It's
I see
Lozi.
three.
It's
The big.
Lozi said
I
that.
see three. Allow me, Kifan. I see three. The second biggest, largest political party in South Africa, which is a white party, they will take us out of BRICS the first time they get power to BRICS. They are for the interest of USA and UK. That's why even
Right.
during our election now, they went to
Yeah.
ask USA to come be an observer state into our elections there. So
Right.
they don't like the thought of BRICS. They just haven't came out to admit it because they are afraid to lose the vote. But
Right.
we know
Right.
what's going on, man. We
Right.
know
Right.
what's going on. Yeah.
Right. So therefore, you already said it that the white people in South Africa want to align themselves with the UK and America. Well, that makes sense because that's
Mm.
their
Yeah.
kindred anyway, their blood.
Your
That's
fatherland.
what's going on. That's
Yeah,
what going.
it's the
That's what's
homeland.
going on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the others are everybody else. Not they are aligning themselves against whiteness, but Western whiteness. It
But
doesn't mean
I
that
see.
they're friends with
But I see through you are right because even how they chose South Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia. These are countries that have got predominantly like they've got a good amount of pale skinned people. Like let's face it,
exactly.
like that's just the truth. But
Yes.
I see three. Let's look at if how many African countries, actual African countries, will BRICS accept this year. The ones that apply,
Mhm.
because even in the past, if Nigeria applied and they disqualified Nigeria, I would like to hear a good reason for that. It can't be that they disqualified Nigeria because they're black. I would like to hear a very
That's
good
the
reason
reason.
for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
So
know.
watch this.
So
So yeah,
yeah.
watch this, Lottie. During the tension between the BRICS and America, right? We must
Mhm.
use this opportunity to unite Black Africa. That's the
Yeah.
opportunity. Whilst there's tension between those two entities, whiteness from the American side and um, anti-blackness from the other side, it's like the parting of the
How do
Red
you
Sea. You've
unite?
got to go in between. You've got to
How do
go
you
in
unite the
between.
Black Africa IC3? We always hear of this unity. How do you do that?
You, it's through finance. It's through finance because through finance, right? You're not threatening
I
identity. You're not
IC3
directly threatening
okay,
identity.
under the same Swift finance, you mean we unite under the same current finance that we have in place? How do we go about that?
We
Well,
start.
what do you
Yeah. So you think of uniting Black Africa through finance. Then you start discussions on that because
but
then
what do you mean finance? Because the current
banking.
system the current system we are maneuvering under in Africa, it's the same it's the Western system. Most African countries use the Swift system to do their international trade.
Yes. Yes. So
So
what's
how do we?
happening? Yeah, but
Mhm.
by keeping generating conversation about how to create an alternative financial system, by keep pushing that, then the mind will come up with ideas. People will start discussing it. Yeah, the idea that you're not thinking, okay, we're between the devil and the deep blue sea. The BRICS aren't our friends and Americans aren't our friends, right? So
Mhm.
how can we move forward? We have to move forward
Mm.
focusing on finance, because that way you won't get into tribal issues. You're not going to get into clan issues. You're talking about trade like a trade block. You're talking about trade and finance, and how to best benefit Black Africa through trade and finance.
So I
And
see
then
three.
trade and
I
finance
see three.
comes with that identity, because trade and
So,
finance must is the most. When you start dealing with finance, you can't be messing around with identity, because
so
if you
I
start
see
having your money
three.
going in the wrong place.
I mean, with your great brain, and you're just there with King Charles sucking you dry. How can we like? I mean, how can we get a great brain like yours back to Africa and we really do this? I mean, Charles is sucking you dry. I'm sure you're busy building his empire there. You know, you're just giving that
It
wonderful
may
brain to
appear
you.
so. It may appear so. The very thing that the very fact that we're here and we're in conference. We are having we're in a think tank. We're discussing things right here now on Kaizo's channel. So what Kaizo is doing, he's building that. He's building that. He's dealing with. He's in the realm of currency and trade, because we're trading ideas, and by
See,
trading and
I see
discussing
three.
ideas, we're
This Wanga boy is not taking us anywhere. We need a great better leaders on
Mhm.
these spaces,
Yeah,
man.
you
I'm
see,
telling you.
this is the thing, Mr. IC3. I think some countries that are doing well, okay, they need to start maybe like South Africa, as Josie was saying. How can we create our own organization that is exclusively for Africans? You know, I know that word you always try to come in between it. So in South
yes,
Africa and some other country, I don't know which one, Africa, they're doing well, and they create this organization and they say these are the criterias for you to meet before you can join this thing. And there might be some goodies, some handouts, or some like some advantages for any country that meets up those criteria for to be able to join an organization. Then we
yes,
can
that's
start
the
from
way.
there. You
That's right.
understand?
100%.
I can
100%.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe if you meet
Kifaro,
these criteria, you
don't you think if South Africa can get affiliated with the leadership of Nigeria, maybe not under Tinubu's admin, and maybe even our admin
yes,
when it's a better admin, maybe than Ramaphosa's one.
exactly.
So
That
don't
I
Yes,
you
said it
think
long
this?
that's the
ago.
way.
I said Nigeria and South Africa. South
Yes,
Africa is all right. If Nigeria can bring itself together and team up with South Africa, those two countries can create a power dynamic and
yes,
can
that's
force
it.
other Africans to be to meet, yeah, to can create a union. We can say,
That's right.
okay, if you meet
100%.
all this, if you meet all these criteria,
Yes,
your countries can invest in my country without tax for 20 years. You know, certain things that,
Mm.
but you must meet up with these criteria.
So
that's
And
it.
so
when
what,
other,
what okay, so what do you see foresee? Let's say that is happening, then we foresee the future problems like maybe external forces coming to disrupt. Where do you think they could be coming from and how? Like how will they disrupt the systems and the movement?
Yeah, the way they're going to
okay,
try and
okay,
disrupt
okay,
is
okay,
through
good.
confusion. The way they will
Yeah.
try and disrupt is always fundamentally through confusion around identity, and
Well, I
clarity on
think
identity
Mm.
oh,
exists.
okay, I think they will try to always like make their own offers look more okay than what you're trying to offer your own people. But I
That's
said
right.
in the beginning, if your
Okay.
people have got pride in themselves,
Yeah,
Yeah.
then they might
It
say,
goes
okay,
it boils
this is,
down to that.
yeah, this is our people, we need to stay. But
that's
So
right.
I'll
Identity.
say this. I'll say this, Kifaro. Sorry, IC3. So on just the current data on how things are, South Africa's got the SADC region locked. Not much so in the central region, but because DRC is in total chaos. So if
Mhm.
DRC was stable, I can see the central being more
Yes.
kind of like the SADC. So currently now, because the southern countries have got small population, and they also like economically they've been stable as well because they kind of like had a settlers colony like South Africa. So there's a bit of infrastructure, so it's easy to ease
Hmm.
tensions, and South Africa is dominating easily there in terms of
Yes.
economy. If we talk about finance, right, South Africa is their biggest trading partner. Only if Nigeria now was in this position as well, the West Africa will be more like stable and more like on
Really?
code with
Yes.
Nigeria. Like, I'm sure that many Southern African countries will bend behind South Africa because there's mutual benefits already, right? And then when it comes to Nigeria, I think Nigeria once, because I know Nigeria is it's actually the biggest trading partner in West Africa if we remove the Western countries and China. So Nigeria
Mhm.
is their biggest trading partner, but it's been defeated by the West and China. Whereas in South Africa is actually the biggest trading partner, even beating China. So they already will bend behind South Africa for many reasons, and economy being the bigger one. So if
Oh,
Nigeria can lift the production and be able to dominate economic, I'm talking from a financial point of view. If they can be able to now make many West African countries trade with them, then you
mhm.
will see that will be easily achieved. And
Yes.
obviously in East Africa, we hopefully look at Ethiopia and Kenya to achieve the same, and that will be easy. That's
Yes.
a financial approach.
Yes.
Yes, we need something like that, and just the fact that Nigeria is just floating is just making the whole of the West Africa just look like really not functioning because France now is trying to fill that space. You
So, but, but,
understand?
but okay, so Nigeria has got one of they've got numbers first of all, right? But they also have got
Yeah, they've got. I think all West Africa put
the
together. It's not even
populations
up
are
to the
good.
number of Nigeria. It's not up to the population of
Oh yes,
Nigeria.
and Nigeria, it's as green almost like DRC. They've got like agriculture wise, it's very good.
Yes,
So
yes, yes,
you
yes.
saw Dangote has completed his refinery, which is the
Mhm.
largest. It's one of the largest in the world actually. He's
Yes, yes.
producing
That's what single like handedly own. Not like a corporation.
yes,
Just
yes, which is super good. Why
yeah.
why can't now the West African countries depend on Nigeria for oil? I mean, that's for start because in terms of manufacturing and products, Nigeria is not producing a
I
lot
think
at
they're
the
going to
moment. So,
start. I think they're going to do it because presently all West
okay,
African countries they have Dangote cement. Even in my
yeah,
country,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we have
yeah. I know.
Dangote cement. I think it's going to spread. It's a gradual process. They're gonna
So I,
they're gonna
I, I,
go.
I so wish Nigeria can focus on distributing that oil domestically and try to outcompete these other Western countries and Middle Eastern countries. Then, in that sense, you can see now Nigeria starting to dominate, and they need to start buying more machinery in China. This industrial machinery, put them in place. That is the only way, Kifar, because I used to think maybe we should just use military on these small countries. Just you know,
I don't I don't
just
I don't I don't I don't mind. I don't mind. To me, for the good, not to go like to me, you're using military to free them from France
for
because
the
this is what
good.
I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
These people are being oppressed by France. If you
Because they
don't
will
go,
sell out
they
the
will
moment
sell out.
France
So
comes with a big check.
just see
They're
what
gonna
is
sell
happening
out.
in just see what is happening in Togo now. What a disgrace. They've actually cancelled election now. It's only the parliament that can vote the president in
Oh no.
2024. The parliament is the only body that is in charge to vote the president of the country, and the president owns almost the parliament. So that is just to tell you guys he's going to be president for life, and his family has been ruling Togo for almost 57 years.
Sometimes that's where you can see these small states in Africa why like they are
They don't need to
problematic.
exist. They don't need to
They
exist.
don't. They are very problematic. These things.
Togo is almost like
Like
more 5 million people.
like
Nigerians can
why
just
can't
choose,
why can't Nigeria, Ivory
just go
Coast,
over and just
And Ghana.
Benin.
Why don't they
Benin
just
is a
become
small.
the three presidents of West Africa and the rest are province? They
Exactly.
like
Benin is like a really small country.
But you got
Lately,
to
I
win
was
hearts and minds. You've got to win the hearts and minds. Don't,
Sometimes
You
don't,
know,
it
don't
like
doesn't.
steamroll. Don't steamroll. You have
No,
to
man.
I
use
mean,
We need to
social
invade. We
engineering.
need to invade to help
yeah,
them.
just
If Cameroon
military.
was in the position, I would tell them to invade Equatorial Guinea.
Just use military and just
Yes,
get in and change the admin. Just start to control the administration of the entire country. That's it. As
exactly,
long as
Right,
you do
right.
exactly,
that for
That's
the,
it.
as long as
Yeah,
you do that
exactly.
for the
that's
interest
it.
of
Yeah,
unified,
Of the
speaking in one
people.
voice.
Yeah.
that's
Speaking in
right.
one voice.
That's
Because
right.
Because
it's better to exploit our own people to build our continent than
because
foreigners exploiting them to build your continent. It's always
you
going
know
to be
what this small
beneficial for us.
you know what these small countries do. By the way, they some of them are actually small in population, but they've got large number, like large mass of land. So you look at country like, let's say, I'm giving an example with Zambia in SADC. Let's say Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Namibia, they are on code with South Africa. They agree that if America sanctions one, it's a sanction for all.
For
If
yes,
America,
exactly,
you know what,
exactly. That
and
was the idea of the Pan African Alliance.
and all of a sudden now you've got maybe Zambia receiving some checks and they can give America cobalt or platinum they were getting from South Africa. You see, these small countries then they become problem when we don't speak in one voice because
I
that's
just
what
see
they
them as
do. They
I just see
receive
them
checks.
as I just see them as proxy because if they're going to vote, their vote count as a country. So they can just
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
jeopardize a process for
yeah,
no good
yeah.
reason.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
you understand? Because they're a country, even
But
there are 200 people over there, it's a country. It's one
but
vote.
it's a very easy problem to resolve. It's not even rocket science. You know, it's a very
Okay.
if we can get on it, it's a very simple problem to resolve. It's really not that complicated.
And that's
Yeah.
we, the word we. I'm going to go now. This has been a great conversation. Lots of good ideas. It's quality conversation on unity, and it's through finance. You don't get into tribal insults or clan insults. Dealing
Yeah,
with finance and trade.
it's poverty that brings all that climb and travel. You look at
Yeah,
South
it's
Africa,
over.
you would not know there are tribes there, but they're over the tribes in South Africa. But you don't hear tribal bullshit because they
Yeah,
have some elevated,
yeah.
a higher standard of living. You don't hear them word about tribe. They have
Yeah,
some other political things to worry about.
it's
All right. See
scarcity.
you all. Catch you
It's
again
scarcity
later. See you
resources.
soon. All right.
See
Okay,
Bye.
you,
sure.
see you,
Yeah,
see you. Bye. Yeah,
cool.
yeah. All right,
Yeah,
Lucy.
Kufa,
I'm gonna leave as well. I don't know where this Wanga's gone, and it's gonna go Wanga,
yeah,
go.
it's probably
Yeah.
sleeping. I'm mountain
Yes.
as well, but
Yeah,
nice one.
that's nice one. Okay. Have a nice day.
What's good, Elsky?
How you doing? Everything all right?
Yeah, not too bad. What about you?
What happened to the show? It's
How's the
over.
African? Say that again.
Is the show over or are we still going?
No, we're still going. We're still going. Don't worry.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because
So,
I'm
yeah, go
outside,
ahead.
innit?
Mike is yours.
Oh, no, I'm outside, innit? I'm catching
Oh,
the
you're
train.
outside. Okay.
I was calling in.
Train.
I was going to contribute after 5 minutes, but I was just
Okay.
calling in to get in. Uh,
Oh, yeah. That's okay. That's okay.
okay.
Yeah, no
So,
problem. No problem. We'll
what,
take a quick break.
what happens to everybody else?
This train terminates.
No, they're around. They're around. But we'll take like a 5-minute break.
5 minute break. All right, then. I do not mind waiting unless it.
Nazarene.